Next up, we wanted you guys to. Well, I don't know. I'm anti-reg too.
Are you anti-reg?
Yeah, but hold on.
Okay,
I might switch sides and just.
That's the intellectual portion.
Well,
Okay, Spider-Man.
Hey, I'm not gonna lose my aunt here. I don't make deals with the devil, first of all.
Or do you?
We
Well,
wanted
that was
to.
his wife, though. Remember, that was his wife.
This is bad.
Yeah.
We don't like to talk about that. It's a time we like to forget. We'd like to go and get you guys, get an idea of what we all like here. Our top 3 favorite artists and writers. So we'll start over here with Ken.
With writers or artists, though?
We'll go with writers first. Top 3 writers.
First? I'm going to go with consistency. There's certain writers who I like. I mean, certain artists. There's certain writers that I like no matter what. Like, I always pick up their books, whether the artist is on there or not. Brian Michael Bendis. He's like, ever since I started reading Ultimate Spider-Man, I'm like, he is the definitive writer for Spider-Man. Period.
Was that your introduction with Bendis?
No, he's been doing stuff for years before that too. He did stuff for Malibu way back when and whatnot. But like, that's one where I'm like, okay, he gets my favorite character of all time, and he knows how to write him as a kid. I mean, but also when that's the great thing about the way he writes too, is when he does ensemble pieces like New Avengers. Yes, Spider-Man is just that niche kind of joke character, but it's because he has to fill that role. I mean, yeah, and he does have some moments of more points and more dramatic, more drama, but he has that wide variety of stuff, and he has to spread it out even amongst the characters.
He does a lot of fun talking heads kind of. When it's, I remember Daredevil. That was one of the big appeals to it. Like you see a lot of really good dialogue heavy issues.
Yeah.
And I know he does really. If anyone writes Spider-Man with quips like he should, it's Bendis I've seen.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah.
I also great stuff on Powers too. Another one, Robert Kirkman. I love him. I mean, start with me, Invincible, of course. Walking Dead is phenomenal.
Awesome.
And actually, a lot of his Marvel team up stuff, like the short run he did in there, it's hilarious. A lot of good stuff there.
I loved his Marvel Zombies.
Yeah.
He was the first one to start. It was just fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the first 2, obviously, the ones he wrote were very good. They're fun. They're fun to read. That's what you have to see it as. A very fun read.
That one just like loses in my head because of Marvel Zombies 3 through 5 and 6 and so forth. So that automatically it starts to drop. But his stuff is still good.
Yeah.
And then also we have to go with Peter David. He's done stuff just for
X Factor,
decades. I mean, X Factor way back in the day. The current one on X Factor, where it's the detective agency, Young Justice.
Yes.
Always Young Justice.
Yes.
Hot Noir art, just good stuff straight through and through.
He's also writing the some episodes for the new Young Justice series.
There you go, which is rightly so.
Yeah.
He's also a terrific novelist. He's done a couple stories of
Star Trek.
Hasn't he helped with the Dark Tower, the adaptation of Dark Tower?
Yes,
I believe he has.
Yeah, he's done.
That's one of the ones I've been looking at.
The other thing too is one of the novels he wrote is basically an adaptation of King Arthur coming back to present day, and it's a really good read.
That's cool.
So those are my top 3. There's more I like out there, Jamie S. Ridge and other people I like to say, but
we don't have
short
enough
list.
time for
Exactly.
38.
Yeah.
But one thing I gotta mention about Bendis, the one thing I never appealed to me is his event books. I never really cared too much for him. They've always seemed either too long or too short. Or
I felt he's grown in a way. If you've looked at House of M to
did he do Secret War?
Please go tell me.
Secret War?
Wars, the Gabriel Delodo.
Yeah, he did do Secret War.
Okay.
Yeah. But that wasn't really an event. It was more of a mini-series
that
kind of led into the next event.
Yeah.
But his last one,
Secret Invasion?
Siege.
Oh, Siege, yeah.
I feel you could see House of M and Siege, and you can see the development, how he grew.
Well, I thought that Secret Invasion and Siege were two polar opposites of something that still needed some refinement. Secret Invasion seemed like it dragged on too long. It was 8 issues, and it focused too much on one part, and then didn't feel like it delivered for me personally. And then Siege went by really fast, which I liked, but I think there could have been a few things a little bit more developed. So I think I can say that he's been developing more. I'm still not a fan of his event books as much as I am his titles ongoings.
Yeah.
I just had to make that real quick comment.
My man crush, Mark Millar, definitely my number 1 right there. Anything that guy writes, I became a fan when I first read Ultimate X-Men, then got into Ultimate, started reading his all his other stuff. There's a lot to list. I mean, Superman Red Sun, Wanted, which
Unwanted.
Wanted.
That's the sequel.
Yes, that's what it is.
Wanted is definitely read the book over watching the movie. The book is just 100%.
Oh, dude, yeah.
No, don't tell
Angelina
the movie,
Jolie,
please.
I mean,
Actually, if you do buy the movie cover of the trade paperback, Angelina Jolie is on the cover.
There you go.
Not in the comic, though.
And what's cool about the comic was the artist, J.J. Jones, really drew to make it look like, certain actors would
Like
portray
Eminem,
Halle Berry.
Yeah. He's definitely my number one. His writing is just, he has a satire to a lot of his political stuff in his comic books. He does a lot of good action.
Blockbuster stuff, like his Ultimates feels like it's like summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even though it might take a few summers for it to
to come out, but it's
That's not gonna
it's one of those ones that I feel like the ends justify the means. The wait is just worth it. I'm okay to wait for Mark Millar. I'm waiting, sir. My second writer, Brian K. Vaughan. Ultimately, he was the best writer. Sorry, Josh Whedon, on Runaways. He did create it.
It's like
he's the guy who created the book. He created the format for it. That's why I say he's the best. Josh Whedon had a good run, obviously, but
he's the originator.
Yeah, Brian K. Vaughan definitely on that. Why the Last Man, definitely a series to pick up in trade format. He's an all around great writer. He wrote some wonderful episodes of Lost.
That is true. I remember that.
Yeah, so I would definitely go with him. And my third pick, jumping on to Ken's, Brian Michael Bendis. Again, like
That's Brian Bendis love here.
Yeah,
when you do good work, you get good people following.
Especially. I remember there was like 1 week where I in my stack there's like 4 or 5 issues of all Bendis. It's a Bendis-gasm, really. So, and he's great. I definitely recommend picking up his graphic novel, Fortune and Glory.
I remember you telling me about that. I found it. I need to start reading that.
It's about him trying to pitch some of his previous comic work before he got to Marvel. Pitch it to movie studios, getting made in a movie. It's definitely worth picking up and reading how Hollywood really is from his point of view. And he drew out the whole thing, which is awesome. It's really cool to check that out. So
I mentioned on your Brian K. Vaughan stuff. He seems like he's a great guy for that kind of a creator-owned stuff. He did Why the Last Man, finished that run, and ended it really well.
Yeah,
Pride of Baghdad.
Pride
of Baghdad.
Pride of Baghdad was
definitely
a nice trade.
Graphic novel.
And Ex Machina was just finished up. Those. I mean, I like that. A guy that has his own creator-owned stuff, such as Robert Kirkman and Brian K. Vaughan, they can really bring it into the forefront and make it like just as well known as any of these Batman or Wolverine, these titles.
Yeah,
these ongoing.
And the one thing about Brian K. Vaughan that I really like is that he knows when to stop. He doesn't want to draw on
that is true.
a comic book for too long. He knows like this is
my end.
This is my end. I'm done. That's good, and it's perfect that way. That's why I like his writing.
Cool. For me, I got to follow up with another. One of these. We got like a bold trio here of favorite writers. I got Grant Morrison, my man crush.
I wonder why.
K. Vaughan.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I know. Grant Morrison is a shock for everyone.
I know.
His latest stuff is just appalling.
He has a pillow with it, the picture on it, just cuddles up with it at night.
All the
King Mob right here. I just love like the reason I love Lost, for example, is I just love that craziness, the confusion, the mass hysteria, the really like it challenges you as a viewer, and I love that Grant Morrison as a comic writer kind of does a similar method, in his takes. He does some really crazy stuff, Invisibles, Doom Patrol, and in some of his Batman stuff. But then he also turns it down a notch with like his Joe the Barbarian, and
yeah, that's not crazy at times at all.
He styles him down at least on his level. I mean, this is Grant Morrison level up here.
That's true. Yeah. He dialed down. It's a different story to tell.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. And I loved his experimental the ways he experiments with comics. Like I think Seven Soldiers of Victory really paved the way for how he wrote Final Crisis, which I thought was a really well done event.
I don't care what this man says, not friendly. Grant Morrison is not friendly to newbies. I came in with Final Crisis. That did not help.
Rest in Peace.
Rest in Peace and Final Crisis did not help. He's not a bad writer.
It took me a bit to get into it first. I think I started with Invisibles, and I was just hooked from there. That and We 3. I love We 3. That was
a great.
But yeah, enough with my Grant Morrison love. I got to move on to my next.
I do have to say he's a great writer, though. He actually created something with Mark Millar years ago called the Skull Kill Crew.
Yeah,
in the 90s. It's really cheesy, but is fun to read.
And I think along with Bendis and Millar, and like these guys live and breathe comic books, and I love those kinds of writers that just like they're 100% comics first, other mediums second. They invest themselves in their work. My next one is I love Gail Simone. She is a great, like, she just surprised me with a lot of her stuff with Power Girl, Secret Six. She did some stuff with Wonder Woman a bit that I started to like. That was when I first started to really care for Wonder Woman even a bit.
It's not the outfit.
No, not at all. And, you know, the recent W. But especially with her Secret Six, like, really gotta, like, the way she writes the characters, she writes really disturbingly mental, perverted stuff, really gritty action, and just the comedy, and it all balances out. And I think her best work is with her ensemble casts. Yes. I like, you know, Secret
Birds
Six.
of Prey, yeah, too.
Birds of Prey, that's another one.
I almost wanted to stretch on that, like, saying it's like David, is it David or Daniel Way's Deadpool?
Daniel Way.
Daniel Way. It's almost similar to that, but this is much more extreme. Like
her run in Deadpool is like, it's, I mean, there's Joe Kelly for my Deadpool run, and then Gail Simone is just like nipping at his heels.
Yeah,
she did a phenomenal.
She ended one like that. The run that Joe Kelly started, she ended it phenomenal. It was just a great run. Went into Agent X, and that was just as good. She's just a marvelous writer. And actually, if you're really interested in a really close arc, I would recommend Villains United, which is a prequel.
The first one, yeah.
Prequel to the Secret Six series, and it's definitely worth it. And that's probably even more insane than the regular series.
Yeah, it starts off with a bang and it just goes and you're hooked from the get-go. I mean, I just finally caught up with the ongoing, so I love her. She's awesome. Speaking of Joe Kelly, he's my number 3. I've just been exposed to some of his recent stuff with the recent Rhino story and the Gauntlet with Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I Kill Giants trade that he did, and I just gotta say, consistently with some of his stuff, and I've read some of his one-shots with like Superman, Batman, and a few other things. He just evokes emotion with all of his books. I think he's one of the, I mentioned earlier in one of our previous episodes, was he reminds me why I like reading comic books. I like going in there and just escaping and just rooting for the character, pulling for the character when they're down, cheering for them when they're up. It gets you into the comic book and it gets you involved, and I think that as a writer, he's mission accomplished on what he's trying to do. I know some of his recent stuff. There's a new story he's coming out with 4 Eyes. I don't know if you guys heard about it.
Yeah, about halfway done now.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
The first part's out at least, yeah. So, I mean, I love that guy. He's awesome. Definitely shout out to him. Kristen.
For me, I had Warren Ellis. I've only had like run-ins with him like twice. I know he does like Planetary, but my major run-ins was Transmet and Extremis. Majorly was Transmet though. I love Transmetropolitan. Like his social and political commentary and in each of the trades were just amazing, and each one got better and better and better and got more in depth. And just said so much about society in itself, and I find that really, really enthralling and interesting.
He's out there. He does all sorts of different stuff.
Like, I've read up to the 7th trade so far, and by far my favorite story, I almost want to say it's like my favorite story of all time, was Business. If anyone's read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It just blew my mind. It was just amazing. I just love his work. And it's his work's also like pretty like not prolific. It was
mature.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if there's a definition for it right now. I'm just kind of blank. But he uses a lot of stark literal words. Not so much of imagery too.
Well, I don't know. Like my best book with him was Fell. I really think that was a great underdog kind of title. It was a great like detective story, and he really did some awesome stuff with it. And he gave you a comic that had a lot for it. Gave it for you for a cheaper price, and then he had some extras in the back too. So I was like, this stuff is awesome. And then we haven't even mentioned too much about Planetary, which is one of his best runs, I think. Personally.
I still have to read that too. I've been recommended that a lot from.
I definitely say my favorite book that he's written is Next Wave.
Oh my god, I can't even remember that
book. Takes C-lister superheroes and just throws them at anything. It's just really fun. It's just out there, out of control, and it's definitely a series that you'd want to read from him.
Next up, I'm sorry, as Croach has mentioned it before, but Joe Kelly. I've only read 4 things besides his Deadpool run.
No, Ben 10's good stuff.
Ben 10's good.
He's on a lot of good shows.
I mean, I've read his Deadpool run, but the ones that really spoke out to me was what Croach said, the 2 Rhino issues from the current Spider-Man and the I Kill Giants. I mean, it's what I look for in a comic. It had everything. It had the emotion, the characters, the story. It spoke out, and like I Kill Giants it brings you down to like an emotional level. It's a powerhouse.
He writes Spider-Man pretty good. He's up there with Bendis, I think, on like those kind of Spider-Man writers.
Yeah.
He's good at doing the quips and the jokes and stuff like that, especially
and putting him in that everyman kind of
Deadpool. That he did a great run on that.